Welcome back to Yes, I'm Adopted. Don't make it weird. As always, I'm Brett. That's Davo. Today we're going to talk to you about why we hate surprises and how you should never jump around the corner and try to scare us because we may accidentally punch you. Yep. Thank you guys for joining us today. We got a lot of awesome comments and messages last week. So first of all, thank you. As always, you guys are amazing. You're why we do this show. We are going to continue our conversation about trauma brain and kind of talk to you a little bit about surprises and how they are the absolute worst thing in the history of mankind. And we're starting at that level.
The World Wars and
World War is like it like
pestilence
squeaks
and-
like up here, you know, like
Okay.
pestilence is like here.
Okay.
We got through
And,
it, like the
famine.
plague,
Yeah.
plague and stuff. We got through
Disease.
that. Disease.
in there somewhere.
It ranges sometimes.
Okay.
Depends on what it is. And you know, if your kid is vaccinated or not. Let's open up that can of worms.
Boo. Boo. Boo.
Devo,
Okay.
you hate surprises.
I hate surprises. I hate every kind of surprise.
What like why do you hate surprises?
Well, so there's lots of reasons I personally hate surprises. Being asked this question right now, I hate the way you just
he
did
doesn't know. He didn't know that I was gonna ask that.
That's terrible.
That wasn't scripted or anything. You're welcome.
This whole thing is difficult because it's not scripted. There's all sorts of reasons why I personally don't like being surprised, but a lot of the research that we've done points to the separation trauma that occurs in adoptees, specifically our story as infant adoptees, is
Tiny little babies.
as
Tiny little baby.
no, you go.
I'm gonna
why
sit
don't,
here.
Why don't you?
I'm gonna
no.
sit.
So part of the. You're the
You
worst.
can just see me in the monitor, just like in the corner over here. All right, I'll stand. I'll stand. Part of the trauma.
Infant adoptees.
Yes, infant adoptees and the separation trauma that takes place.
Results in neurological issues, which we've talked about before in the
Yes.
last couple of episodes of this.
Yep.
One of the major parallels that's been found in the research on that separation trauma is that adoptees that experience that separation trauma as infants later on in life, especially as adults or as young adults or adolescents, show a lot of the same traits that, for instance, soldiers do that have PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's been largely true in our experience as well. So like there's all sorts of things that I would be surprised by as a normal person, but because I'm me, I am simultaneously surprised and enraged by them. So
And sometimes you don't know why.
and you don't know what
Just- I hated everything about that.
yeah.
I don't know why.
Other people, I will never understand the people that enjoy the concept of the being startled.
Oh gosh, I hate that.
Like going to the haunted
Like the
house or
horror
having somebody
movies?
jumping around a corner or whatever.
like
doing
what's
that.
the point of horror movies? I don't get it.
I
I don't get it.
It's
at
not
all.
for me.
Mm-mm.
I don't like anything that makes me go, "Gah," right? Because it makes me want to kill everything. Specifically, I hate jump scare.
Right.
Right?
Me too.
I can't stand balloons. Which there's an episode of the IT Crowd that has a thing that perfectly sums that up.
You don't like balloons.
Oh, don't talk to me about balloons.
Why?
Balloons explode, Jen. They explode suddenly and unexpectedly. They are filled with the capacity to give me a little fright, and I find that unbearable.
And that's terrible. But it also includes the side of like I don't like it when my plans change.
Yep. I
Right.
was gonna talk about that one.
So you talk about that.
Let's hit that real quick. So, I like schedules. I like having things planned out. I like knowing where I'm going to go next after we're done filming here, what the next plan is going to be. With my wife and I, you know, like whenever she has a friend coming over when she's going to hang out, I like having that sort of control. And whereas it may seem like it is very controlling, because I am sometimes in that case, a lot of it has to do with that whole surprise thing. We hate surprises to the point where if our schedule changes even a little bit, then we kind of just get our whole funk thrown off. You know, like we're in a groove, we're ready to go. I'm trying to think of other music genres.
Sure.
We're jiving, we're rocking and rolling. and
ska dancing.
you know.
I'm not doing
I
that.
can't do it here. I'm gonna kick the table.
That's terrible.
But whenever something comes up that we have to slightly shift our schedule, like it throws off everything because we've in our mind already solidified what the day looks like and how we're going to react to everything. Like we schedule meetings far in advance. Like, sometimes weeks in advance if we possibly can, because we want to know how we're going to react to certain things. We want to know the information that's going to be brought up or the questions that could be asked. And we don't like looking dumb. And if we have to sit there and be like, I don't know, that's bad.
Most people don't like to look dumb.
No, they
people will
don't.
go to great lengths to not look dumb.
Right.
I think that's true. But
Like hire us to not look dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As adoptees, I think I go to great lengths to know what to expect
Right.
in every situation.
Yeah.
So there are two ways that I'll go about that. One is if something does change, I get really frustrated by it. So
Me
for
too.
instance, and this is insane, right? But like if we're planning something for the day, and I know I need to pick up one of my kids at 3, and then somebody and pick up the other one at 3:45, and then something should change, right? Where I now need to switch and pick up the other kid or whatever. Just because that thing changed, and I'd already solidified how that was going to go, I'm frustrated by it. Right?
Yep.
Or like if I think, and this isn't probably more of an introvert thing, but I think it's also got a lot related to this, is that if I think that, for instance, I'm going to sit home today and not do a thing, and somebody schedules
Oh
something
gosh.
that I have to go do now,
I hate that. Hate it.
I will be enraged.
Hate it so much. It is so irritating to me.
So the more I can know in advance, the better. And as adults, I know that we've learned to cope with a lot of these things. So, for instance, one thing I know that that I do, and I think you do this too, is to envision every single possible scenario.
Yeah. Every
And-
single one.
And then be okay with every possible scenario, whether that's a conversation or it's a surprise or it's a
Right.
thing that's coming up or it's anything that could go on in my day. I envision every possible scenario so that I can learn to be okay with it.
Right.
So I can learn to say, okay, well, this could happen and that's fine. Or this could happen and that's fine.
And that's fine,
or
too.
something in here could and that, and that's definitely one of the ways that I think
Yeah.
we've learned to cope.
Okay, let me ask this question, because this is me, and I'll explain it. As a kid, like during Christmas or birthdays or anything like that, were you ever the compulsion, I have to know what's in my present before I open it?
A lot of the times I would go look. I've stopped doing that as an adult. I don't go look anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
But-
I never do that.
I think by in my younger days or even today, I'm pretty well able to intuit what's coming. So
Right.
none of that is
Because you get
surprise.
asked and stuff,
Right.
and so it's like, oh, I'm gonna get you what you want. But as a kid, though, like I didn't know what I was
Right.
gonna get, and it'd get to the point where I got so freaked out that I didn't know what I was gonna get that I had to go and search out my presents ahead of time. Partially because, and this took me years to understand. Like this was years later. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. And so if I got something that I wasn't expecting or something I didn't really ask for or want necessarily, I still wanted to be able to be surprised. Have that happy joy, thank you face. Like a lot of kids are great at it. Like, there's some videos of kids getting avocados and they're like the most thankful thing in the world. It's a hilarious video. But I was not one of those kids. Like if I didn't get what I wanted, then I was mopey. I was a brat. And I didn't want that during Christmas or my birthdays or anything. And so I would always go and try to find my presents. And my parents thought they were really good at hiding them. Mom, Dad, if you're watching this, you sucked at hiding presents. You tried hiding my Easter stuff next door at the neighbor's house, still found it. But I did not want to disappoint my parents. And so I would look for them so that way I could mentally prepare myself for how I was going to react.
Sure.
I don't like reacting. Do you find that about yourself?
I think that's true.
I hate reacting.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I like being proactive about stuff.
That's intuitive.
Yeah.
In that I don't. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't like to have a reaction to a thing, I want to
Right.
think it through.
Yeah.
Or I'll have a reaction and then I need to sit and think it through before I take action.
Right.
As adults, we've learned how to experience upset, or we've learned how to experience surprise or startlement, or
Startlement.
Yeah, that's a word I made up, or just something different than what's expected, and to know that one, I'm gonna react this way. Mm-hmm. I'm still gonna hate it. Nothing
Yup.
about that is gonna change. But my reaction doesn't have to be based in that hatred of surprise, right? It
Yup.
can be. I can now take a step or take a breath and say, okay, now I'm going to react this way.
Yup.
As kids, I don't know if I had that ability.
No, I did not have that ability, which is why I was one of the angsty punk rock heavy metal teenagers. Like, like I got into fights and stuff because I was completely reaction. Like everything was reaction. And I remember as I got older, I got so sick and tired of that. So sick and tired of the surprises and the letdowns and everything. And I was just like, I'm just going to figure out every single move that I'm going to take. And if I have a conversation with somebody, I plan out every single answer or, rebuttal or anything that they're going to have.
Right.
And I know what I'm going to say next. And that was like my whole life. Life was one giant chess game, essentially.
Yeah.
And I still do that. I still have those imaginary conversations in my head, for better or worse sometimes. But, in order to try to figure out how not to react, but how to be proactive in that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think as a kid, I was a repressor. So I'd just kind of feel things and then just shut down. So, like a lot of the stuff that I know that you would react to with throwing punches, I would just absorb.
Yup.
And would stew in silently until it all erupted. That's some later point, which was pretty much middle school. So
Yeah!
that was a fun phase. So as far as you guys watching at home, as kids, this is just something to be aware of. Like I wouldn't surprise your kid with stuff. Maybe this is just us, but I think that the research corroborates that this is a larger adoptee issue.
There are a lot of them out there that hate surprises.
So feel that out. Like don't go throwing surprise parties for your kids if you know that they're not going to want surprise parties.
Unless they ask for it.
And then maybe still let them know.
Yeah. Throwing a surprise party for you at 6, don't be late.
Heads up. Ta-da.
Yeah.
And as adults, this is something that we can take a hold of and really work on in ourselves, that this is how your brain is going to react to these things, but you get to decide how you're going to react in that scenario and in that situation. So
Yep.
that's the deal.
That's the deal. So thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Yes, I'm Adopted, Don't Make It Weird, talking about trauma brain and surprises. We will see you on the weekend update. I will probably figure out if I'm doing it or he's doing it, because I was supposed to do last week, but I was sick and dying, so.
I'm planning on doing it.
Oh, then it's him. Okay, I'm gonna go this way then. It's all you.
So now it's not a surprise.
Yeah, it's you.
We're not filming it right now.
Thanks, Davo.
Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your comments and your stories. We've really enjoyed getting to know you guys, and look forward to hearing more of your stories and questions and comments and all that kind of cool stuff. So if you haven't already, or you're new to us or whatever, please go ahead and hit that like button.
Hit the like button.
Hit the little follow.
Hit the
dealy.
follow button.
Dealy?
Dealy. Hit the follow dealy.
And then you'll be notified when we put up stuff, and you'll get to see our faces, all that much more.
Lucky you.
Hooray!
Oh, sorry.
Surprise!